In a world accustomed to seeing Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa as the picture of composure and charm, the reality behind their smiles often went unnoticed. They have long been celebrated as Hollywood's ideal couple, balancing careers, family, and humor with effortless grace. Yet beneath the glimmering studio lights and perfectly timed banter, something subtle had shifted. Mark's energy seemed diminished, his laughter less spontaneous, and his presence carried a quiet weight. Kelly, always attentive, sensed these changes immediately, recognizing the signs of something deeper. This story begins not with drama, but with a quiet moment that revealed the human side of two people often perceived as invincible, reminding viewers that even the strongest among us face moments of fragility and fear. Subtle changes and quiet concern. The first signs were small but telling. Mark appeared more withdrawn, fatigued, and less playful than usual. Kelly noticed the subtle tension in his gestures, the way he held her hand a little tighter, as if to anchor himself amidst invisible storms. Friends and colleagues might have attributed it to stress, long working hours, or the pressures of balancing fame and family. But Kelly intuitively knew something was wrong. The unspoken worry began to shadow their daily routines, revealing the silent impact of concern that can linger unacknowledged for months. This phase highlights how love often begins with noticing the small shifts in a partner's behavior, and how awareness and empathy lay the foundation for facing challenges together before they escalate into something more visible. The diagnosis that changed everything. Life-altering news arrived quietly during a routine medical appointment. There were no dramatic interruptions, only the sudden realization that time had shifted, and plans previously taken for granted were now fragile. Mark absorbed the diagnosis with a quiet composure, nodding as he processed words that felt unreal. Kelly, by his side, tried to remain strong, reassuring him without breaking down, even as her fingers trembled with anxiety. The moment was intimate and deeply human, emphasizing the emotional gravity of hearing that someone you love is facing uncertainty. Here, vulnerability transcended the celebrity image, showing two people confronting reality together, holding on to each other as the foundation of support amid fear. Strength and fragility. Intertwined. Kelly's initial reaction was composed. She smiled, asked questions, and reassured Mark, showing courage under pressure. However, once they stepped outside the medical setting, her composure collapsed, releasing the pent-up emotions of fear, love, and helplessness. Mark, despite being the one facing the diagnosis, became the comforter, holding Kelly and offering stability. This role reversal illustrated the complexity of relationships during times of crisis, where strength and fragility coexist. It also highlighted that true partnership means sharing emotional burdens, not masking them. In these moments, the couple moved beyond roles of celebrity or spouse to simply two people navigating vulnerability together, revealing the raw essence of love and connection that audiences rarely get to witness firsthand. Mark's quiet resolve. Mark's response to the diagnosis was measured, reflective, and centered on protecting those around him. Rather than succumbing to panic, he focused on the impact his condition might have on Kelly, their children, and their extended support system. His subtle humor and attempts to lighten moments of tension became a coping mechanism, not denial. Yet late at night, Kelly could hear the deeper struggle in his footsteps as he processed fear privately. This juxtaposition of public composure and private anxiety revealed the invisible labor of caregiving within a marriage. Mark's approach reminded viewers that courage often manifests quietly through discipline, reflection, and a commitment to maintaining normalcy for the people we love, even when we feel vulnerable inside. Deepening bonds through fear. As days and weeks passed, Mark and Kelly's relationship evolved. Conversations became deeper, embraces lingered longer, and expressions of love carried profound weight. The diagnosis reframed their priorities, dissolving trivial conflicts and reinforcing the importance of presence and connection. Kelly observed moments that had previously gone unnoticed, from Mark playing with their children to quiet routines at home. each act imbued with renewed significance. The couple's daily interactions became exercises in mindfulness, appreciation, and emotional presence. In this period, love was not performative. It was lived and experienced fully in the small, often private moments that highlight the human capacity to adapt, nurture, and cherish one another when faced with uncertainty. Public honesty and private boundaries. Kelly's eventual decision to share fragments of the emotional journey with the public was done with care and intentionality. She allowed viewers a glimpse into their fear and resilience, not for sympathy, but to acknowledge the reality of facing uncertainty while maintaining privacy. Mark, on the other hand, chose to navigate much of the process away from public scrutiny, leaning on routines, faith, and family. This balance between openness and discretion demonstrated respect for personal boundaries while modeling courage and honesty. It emphasized that vulnerability is not a spectacle, but a shared experience, and that public figures can convey authenticity without oversharing, offering lessons in grace, resilience, and the power of emotional boundaries. Navigating daily life with new awareness, the couple's routines shifted subtly but profoundly. Ordinary moments, morning coffee, evening conversations, and quiet observations of each other took on new emotional significance. Kelly became acutely aware of Mark's presence, his breathing, and his movements, cherishing each second. Mark, meanwhile, continued to engage with life publicly, maintaining smiles and conversations despite the internal struggle. Their story illustrates how major life challenges alter perceptions of time, space, and relationship dynamics. Everyday acts became anchors, teaching them to treasure moments previously taken for granted. This heightened awareness of the present reflects a universal truth. Facing uncertainty transforms ordinary experiences into profound reminders of connection and love. Honesty, fear, and emotional intimacy. A pivotal moment occurred when Mark admitted his fear aloud for the first time. This confession broke the last barriers of pretense, allowing both of them to share vulnerability without fear of judgment. From that point forward, they embraced honesty in discussing uncertainty, pain, and the unknown. Tears were no longer suppressed. Grief was shared, and conversations became authentic expressions of their emotional reality. This level of intimacy strengthened their bond, proving that love does not eliminate fear, but provides a framework to confront it together. Their openness highlighted the transformative power of emotional honesty in sustaining relationships through life's challenges. Resilience, and the everyday triumphs. The diagnosis did not define their marriage. Instead, it stripped it down to its essence. Without distractions, arguments, or performative routines, they discovered the core of their connection: love, patience, and shared commitment. Every small victory, a laugh, a moment of peace, a good day, became celebrated and cherished. Friends observed a new tenderness between them, a quiet understanding that transcended words. Kelly and Mark's story underscores that resilience is cultivated in everyday choices: holding hands, sitting together in silence, allowing grief to wash over without judgment, and choosing each other repeatedly. This phase reflects the human capacity to transform fear into intimacy, demonstrating that true love persists not despite challenges, but through them. Conclusion: love in the face of uncertainty. Despite ongoing uncertainty and difficult days ahead, Mark and Kelly's bond remained unshaken. Their journey illustrates that love is not about guarantees, but about choosing each other every day, even when life feels fragile. They have shown that strength does not always mean fearlessness, but the courage to face vulnerability with grace. Their story is a reminder that behind public personas, real people navigate emotions, fears, and challenges. It is about resilience, presence, and the quiet courage found in holding on to each other, cherishing every moment, and continuing forward together, even when the future is unknown. Their journey unfolds one honest conversation, one tear, and one embrace at a time.